Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. But first, I want to bring in a good friend of ours. John Barsness joins us. He's a gun writer, a hunting writer, and just basically an all-around good guy. Hey, John, how are you, sir?
Good. How are you doing, Tom?
Well, I am having a ball. As you know, I picked up this cool little gun that you're kind of my enabler, man. You made me buy a rifle about 2 months ago, and now you've keep talking about the Dakota Model 10 and these single shots. I couldn't find the Merkel that you told me about, but I stumbled on this thing, and I am in heaven.
You've been buying some nice rifles lately.
I have. Well, it's kind of a 2-to-1 or 3-to-1. I got to get rid of some so I can get the one good one, but that's okay. It makes more room in the safe these days.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is, and look, I love ARs. I love semi-autos. I killed my first deer with a semi-auto way back in the prehistoric days. But, there's just something about the balance and the appeal and the, if you will, the history of a single shot, isn't there?
Oh, yeah. Once you've tried a single shot, very few people can't have at least 1 or 2 or 7, in their collection. Yeah.
Well, people keep gobbling up Ruger number ones whenever they can. And this one, I just got lucky. It's a classic design. It's the Dakota Model 10. It's kind of like, I describe it to people. I said, if you took a Ruger number one and you left it in the dryer too long and it shrank, that's what you'd get, right?
Right. Yeah, and maybe a little bit of wind too,
Yeah, exactly right. So it's smaller, it's lighter, it's handier, it handles like a dream. And I got lucky, it came in a super classic cartridge, a 7x57 or the 7mm Mauser, 131 years old now.
Yeah, it's been around a while, and it's still hanging tough.
Well, it is, and the other rifle that you talked me into, or at least gave me the heads up on, I got a 7mm08, and, I think, and look, I understand that the loading companies can't say you can load the 7 Mauser up, because we've got some older rifles that are not as strong. But in reality, there's no reason in the world, if you've got a modern strong rifle, as a hand loader, and you take this upon yourself, that you can't load it up at least to a 7mm08 level.
Yes. Yeah, and it's really easy to do, too.
It is. You just keep working. In fact, you can actually use 7mm08 loads. Just start at the lower end, like we always say, and work your way up, right?
Yep.
So you've shot stuff with a 7 Mauser.
Yeah, I had to look it up to get ready for this program. I've shot 17 species of big game with it.
Holy cow. So did it work on any of them?
Well, it bounced off the bigger ones. No.
Yeah, right.
The biggest, I took a very good-sized Alberta bull moose with it. And
wow.
He went all of 19 yards before falling over.
Oh. Well, and there are people, and I've been reading up on it, there are people say, well, it's a good deer cartridge, but I wouldn't want to use it on elk or something like that. And I'm thinking, really?
Yeah, I've killed bull elk with it. I've killed bull kudu, bull wildebeest. Yeah, all those big, tough things that you supposedly need a Magnum for, yeah.
Well, exactly. Okay, so one of the things I want to talk to you about is going against the grain, because, and you followed this. You shot a lot of animals with a lot of different calibers, and the big fast magnums and the kind of the classic ones like the 7x57. And the lighter bullet going really fast is very trendy because everybody wants that magic number. It's got to be 3,000 feet per second or more. And yet I see what you're writing about and hear you and say, yeah, but you ought to look at these heavier, longer bullets. They may start out slower, but they're like secretly, sneakily effective, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. Especially in one of the reasons the 7x57 became so popular early on, it started as a military cartridge, but it became very popular as a hunting round, is because of the moderate muzzle velocity of the heavier bullets.
Mm-hmm.
And way back then, they didn't have all these fancy monolithic and bonded and all those sorts of bullets. But that moderate muzzle velocity allowed the bullets of the time to hold together when they hit game and penetrate very well. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And it still works today.
Well, it does.
I don't know how many I haven't. I don't know how many animals I've killed with the 160 grain Sierra Game King, which is
Just
not
a simple.
considered the. Yeah, I don't
it's
think I've
nothing
ever
fancy.
recovered one. Yeah.
It's a cup and core bullet. It's nothing fancy.
Yeah.
It's not controlled expansion. It just kills stuff. For those who don't know, John Barsness is also the author of the series now, the Big Book of Gun Gack, and then the fourth one, the kind of smaller, if you will, Book of Gun Gack, a different trim size. Really fun books. I read them all. I really do. I go back and look at them all the time. So, John, getting ready for this conversation I'm having with you, I looked up, if we took that 7.57 or 7 mm08 and compared two bullets, 120 grain Barnes, which you can push at about 3,100, say, and the 162 grain Hornady ELDX going at about 2,700 feet per second. So you're talking about a 400 foot per second difference at the muzzle. The difference in energy is significant, but not at the muzzle. When you get out to 500 yards, that 162 grain Hornady bullet that started out so slow has almost 500 foot-pounds more energy at 500 yards. Is that something?
That is something, and I don't think I've ever quite taken anything at 500 with a 7.57 or 7.08, but I've shot game out to 400 yards with them, and it works just fine. And usually I'm using a little heavier bullet when I do that.
Well, and I don't want to shoot something at 500. I think, if I get a chance, I'm trying to get closer. But just for the sake of comparison, I ran them out that far. And one of the sneaky parts of this, and you kind of alluded to it, is that if a bullet starts more slowly, like you use a heavier bullet, because the reason we use these controlled expansion bullets is we say, well, what if you have to shoot an elk real close and the bullet's going really fast? You need a really tough bullet. Okay, great. Yeah. But then if you're going to shoot something out at 400 or 500 yards, it still needs to expand well. Well, that's the bullet designer's nightmare of having to hit something fast and have it also expand when it's going slower at longer distance, right?
Right.
So,
but that's where bullets like the ELDX really shine. Those plastic tip bullets expand much easier than just the plain old soft points that we're so used to.
Right. Yeah. And then, of course, and the heavier, longer bullet's going to drop more. You're going to get about 10 inches more drop at 500 yards. But that's in the who cares category these days, now that we have laser rangefinders and dial-up scopes.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just
or even, I think with the 7.57, you don't even have to use the dial-up. You can. It's one of the cartridges that you're not going to shoot it at half a mile. You can use a multi-point reticle just as easy.
I like that. Have a couple of points underneath the crosshairs. You go, that's my 400-yard line. That's my 500-yard line. If you further than that, get closer.
Right.
So, I like it. So what have you been shooting that's been interesting and fun?
You mean as far as cartridges?
Cartridges, rifles, anything?
Yeah. Well, I've kind of slowly started reducing my rifle collection, but it doesn't succeed all the time because then I go buy some more.
Of course you do.
Yeah. But my most fun rifle, I would say, in the past couple of years, well, actually I bought it about a little over a year ago, was a Griffin and Howe 1903 Springfield custom rifle made in 1930. Yeah.
In .06?
In .06, it's a Springfield, and it has, as far as I could tell from the research, it was built on a national match action and barrel, which often happened in those days, and that was when Townsend Whalen was in charge of the Springfield Armory.
Oh, wow,
he would
that's
often
cool.
go personally to select barreled actions and send them to Griffin Howe for special customers. Now, I don't know who mine was, but he did that for Ernest Hemingway.
So how's it shoot?
It shoots really well. Yeah.
Amazing.
And, the bore's in fine shape. It's got the nicest piece of wood on it of any Griffin and Howe that I've ever seen. I've been looking at them for years until I found one I really, really wanted. But,
those old classic styles of the Griffin and Howe, the Wesley Richards, all of those Rigby's, it's like holding a piece of history in your hand. You can imagine, I'm out here with Hemingway or Salou or one of those.
And they have good records at Griffin and Howe, and I found out mine was made about 6 months after Hemingway's rifle. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, same year. Yeah, but the other one I've been playing with a little bit. Sorry, I'm hoping to get to hunt with it this spring for black bear. Is I got another ultralight arms rifle.
No kidding.
Yeah, and I got our friend Tom McIntyre passed away.
Right. I think I saw that you had picked up one of his rifles.
Yeah, I helped his widow take care of some of the rifles, and I wanted one. It's a 6.5 284.
Oh, nice.
Which is a nifty little cartridge. Yeah.
It is, yeah. There's not much you can't do with that cartridge, actually.
No, I would happily hunt elk with it and a bunch of other stuff here in Montana.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to try to take a black bear with it this spring, and so my tastes run it for everything from the classics. Well, my oldest centerfire rifle is a 50-70 Springfield trapdoor. And it was what they call first-year production.
In case you have a herd of bison come running by.
Yeah. I think that's what I'm thinking about doing is arranging to get a buffalo somehow. If I don't draw a tag in the drawing this year in Montana, I might just go on another ranch hunt. I don't know.
Yep.
But I've got a wide variety.
Sounds like it. John, tell people how they can read what you're up to and keep up with you.
Well, you can go to our website, riflesandrecipes.com, and we have all my wife Eileen's books and mine all there, and she always throws in something about where we're writing for now and what's going on. And along with a subscription to our online magazine, Rifle Looney News.
Rifle Looney News. I love it. Riflesandrecipes.com. John Barsness and Elaine Clark, and who does wonderful cookbooks. So I appreciate your time. Please tell her hello for me.
I will do that, Tom. And she says hi, Tom, too.
Sounds good. Well, you guys take care. Always a pleasure, John.
You bet.
Take care. All right. 866 Talk Gun. Yeah, old rifles, cool rifles, slower, longer, heavier bullets. I know it goes against the trend, but that's where I am moving these days.